Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to be inspired, stimulated, and cultivated. Coming to you live from Charm City here in Baltimore, Maryland. It's the Breaking Barriers Show with Dr. Stacey Stanley. The show that empowers you to take your freedom and watch it unfold by breaking barriers one at a time. And now, here's your host for Breaking Barriers, Dr. Stacey Stanley.
Welcome to another episode of Breaking Barriers. Today's episode is a little bit different than our previous episodes. And as I told you, we were going to start interviewing and bringing people on who are breaking barriers along with me. I cannot do this thing by myself, but today, we have a very special guest with us who have been breaking barriers for a long time. I've known her all her life, and I do want to say this. This is a very sensitive conversation. This is not like the other conversations I've had with people in the past, with interviewing, but this is very near and dear to my heart, and I am excited to share with you my firstborn, my real life doll baby. As if you remember in episode 1, I talked about my real life doll baby and some of my dolls that I treated like doll babies. So here we are today with my very firstborn. I want to say lieutenant. Is it still safe to say that? Or yeah. Okay. I had with me my lieutenant, your lieutenant, but we'll dig a little deeper into while we're having this moment right here as to whether or not it's lieutenant or not. We'll get into it. We don't want to let everything out just yet. So before we move on, I want you to do two things. I want you to click the subscribe button. And also, I want you to make sure you are sharing this with someone who needs to hear a lot about mother and daughter relationships, breaking barriers together and independently. Share this. This is important. So I welcome to my stage, my daughter. Tia, thank you for joining us.
Yes. It's a blessing just to be here and doing this interview with you. Hello, everybody. I am Shatia, the wonderful firstborn. Thank you for having me.
So one of the reasons why I felt like it was important to actually bring you on was I shared with my viewers my experience of being a teen mom, giving birth 5 days before my 15th birthday. This is not it never felt like an embarrassment to me because I always felt like my life was designed to help others. And there's always, out of an experience, there's always something that you can take away from it to help other people. And I felt like my life journey has been exactly that. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we'll just skip to the good part, because with you actually growing up with me, because that's what it was like. You were literally growing up with me as I was going through my teenage years into my young adult years. You were on that journey with me. And that journey of going to school with me as a newborn, 6 weeks old. going to high school with me, having to go to school every day, carry you in the front of me and my book bag and your diaper bag, the car seat. It was a lot. It was a lot. And of course you wouldn't remember that time, but I can just say it was something that I can reflect on when it comes down to tenacity and strength. Having to still go to school every day and, you know, still tend to you as a mom, as a new mom, as a teenager, not really knowing exactly what was going to take place in my life. But I can say my real life doll baby was definitely a blessing for me. And I say that because a lot of times when you come across experiences like such as the one I experienced, sometimes you're ready to give up. And for me, giving up was not an option. And raising you, I hope I didn't appear to seem like I wanted to give up. I tried to give you the best, absolutely the best that I could possibly give. So, just from your perspective, being raised by a single mom as a teenager, what can you remember?
I remember a lot of the sayings you used to give me, something that I actually still carry to this day. Never say you can't. Always say you can. And if you get it wrong, try it again. No matter what happened when I was younger, we have so many stories that we can like bring up, but that was always a saying that I will always remember you telling me. Like if I get irritated about something that I did, or if I feel embarrassed about a mistake, or if something spilled, and you know, just for instance, like anything, that was always the saying. If you never say you can't, always say you can, and if you get it wrong, try it again. I feel like I was always spoiled. I didn't have to want for anything. Like I really didn't have to want for anything. Yeah, that's what I definitely remember, and that's something I carry. I strongly carry today, and I always try to like motivate other people. What was instilled from my mom, instilled into me from my mom. You know, a lot of those sayings. So
yeah, and the thing about it, it was a lot of help. So I didn't do this alone. I didn't do this. I had my parents, your grandparents there to help, and that goes to show that having a good support backing you up. It can be very easy for anyone to discourage or to make you feel like you're inadequate because of, and I don't want to say a mistake. I don't want to say that, because everything that we go through is a purpose behind it. There's a purpose, and being able to walk in purpose. And that's what I felt like I was doing, unknowingly walking in a purpose. But having that support there to help you and I, because there were times like even when I had to go to school and the weather was bad, and you know, I caught, until I was old enough to drive, I caught the yellow bus to school. So having to walk, and I mean, making no excuses, literally walking, if school was open during like rain or a little bit of snow, if school wasn't closed, I was in school. There was no excuses made for me going to school. And I did complete school. I did complete high school. I was very successful in high school. But just jumping, you know, past that, one of the things that we experienced together was definitely going to some of the same schools.
Literally, elementary, middle school, high school, college.
So we literally, this may seem like wow, this is an interesting, simple dynamic you all had growing up. But let me tell you, blessings, like, it's definitely a blessing to be able to experience all of this. And we share a lot of things together. We share the same birthday month. We share technically the same birthday week. We're only 5 days apart with our birthday. So there were times where we, sharing our birthday weekends, at the same time. Even having to, like, I was still young, so I still was in my youthfulness, going outside with you and like just doing certain things. Because I was still young. So it was very enjoyable, but it was definitely a learning lesson. And as we talk about our schools and things like that, one of the memories, and I didn't think about it until recently. I've had this thought before, but when you were first born, your newborn picture, you already had your fist with my long hair. She had a wrap on. She had a wrap. Her hair was done. Her hair was done. She came out with her hair done. But that newborn picture, you were mugging with your fist just like this. She had both of her fists up. And I said, she must gonna be a fighter, because she came out like the picture, like, okay, don't play. So long story short, I did not know what life was getting ready to be about, and I thought I had my experiences with fighting. So I guess she was born and she already had warned me that the fist was going to be up. Because one of the things that we both experienced, of course 2 different times, was fighting in middle school. Okay, it kind of started. Did it start early in middle school?
Well, no, I think elementary school, when I was in 5th grade. Remember?
Yes.
In 5th grade, I'm trying to remember where. Was it at the Pell Center? Did it start at the Pell Center?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
And I was walking towards like the Riverine, that's near the Pell Center.
Oh, like the little river, the little small. Well, it was a lot of woods over there now.
The girl had called me out her name. I mean, out my name, and then went down from there. And yeah, had quite a bit. But I think I remember you had told me about a story when I was either like in pre-K or kindergarten, and the girl was in the bathroom.
Oh my goodness! Yes,
I don't really remember too much of that.
Yes, you were in pre-K. You were in pre-K. Well, it was like a little nursery school, and then went to like kindergarten. But yeah, she did not understand that one of the children who had a condition that she couldn't control, felt like she wanted to just walk in the bathroom and pull my baby off the toilet. And you didn't understand that this child had a problem, and they said that you scratched her face, and you protected yourself. You definitely protected yourself. And that's one of the things that you definitely protect yourself. You protect me as well, because you didn't let anybody treat me. Ooh, she didn't let anybody just treat me any kind of way. But going, into middle school, some of the funny moments. I mean, at that time it wasn't funny, but after a while you just kind of say, you know what? All right, making these trips up to the school for her fighting. Keep getting these phone calls. They needed me to come up to the school, and yeah. And your I think it was your vice principal. Or was he the principal? No, he was the vice principal. And I remember walking into the school, and he got tired. He said he got tired of, you know, calling me, and I got tired, and I told him I got tired of talking and coming up here.
Mr. Ingram.
Yes. So shout out to Mr. Ingram. I believe he's still maybe teaching. I mean, not teaching. Is a principal at a school somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. But yes. So going through those challenging moments as a young mom, and of course, self-regulation skills kick in, because sometimes you want to be angry at the other person for allowing their child to just do what they want to do. And but she never started anything. She never started. You never started anything.
And when I was in school, I was always like, I had friends, you know, I like to talk to people, but I was always to myself, like always quiet, not loud spoken. But the minute somebody would like try to mess with me, don't mess with me now. That's gonna be your last time. Don't try it. But I would never start anything. I will always.
Yeah, I get the phone call. She done finished it. And so many other, you know, situations with, you know, dealing with after school programs, the Power Center, you know, take her home. Just take her home, because
oh my goodness. He was the one that was like, I think I got into some fight with another boy.
Yeah, and the family like, history.
Do you think she might want to do wrestling?
And you know, it was so funny because, you know, the Power Center was ran by the police athletic league. So they were real officers there. And when you have somebody call and say, I need you to come and get your child now because she just fought like she was getting ready to kill somebody, I'm on my way. I don't even remember where I was, but I remember just getting there. And they will always tell me, like, she did not start. She did not start. And I'm just going to say, the apple don't fall far from the tree, because I had my experiences. But it's okay. It's okay. This is all a part of our life journey, and how we grow and we develop and we make an impact. Because that's one of the things that we both have been doing individually and together, is making an impact. And it's so important because people can see just the outcome, but they don't realize
we have a story.
It's a whole. Let me tell you. You think Medea has a whole, like, Medea goes to jail and Medea family reunion? We have a whole series that we could create, explaining our journey. But it's just so. It's so many things I can just say that. You taught me. I know parents, they feel like, you know, they're the parent, they're the ones that are the educators, but when your children can literally teach you and help you to mature in so many different ways, it's amazing. It's amazing. And for me to be able to have this experience with you, I just wouldn't have it no other way. I have no regrets. I remember when I found out that I was pregnant with you, and one of the things that the doctor said when me and your grandma had came into the room, and I saw this big face on the bottom of the paper, and it looked like a sad face. Well, it looked like a happy face because I think my mind, like, it was going to be good news. But she put a sad face, and because I saw it upside down, my mind was just thinking, okay, it's going to be some good news. But when I found out that I was pregnant, the doctor had said, you know, I have options, you know, which one would be abortion, and two would be adoption. And immediately, me and your grandma was like, no. It was nothing to think about. It was nothing to, you know, oh, let's just go home and ponder on it. It was an absolute no. We knew at that moment, especially being, I am a pew baby, you know, being raised in the church, you know, that is that is not something that you, let me just carry a child for 9 months and just give a child up for adoption, or just having an abortion, and that was not an option. But having a whole community of support, let me tell you, if you are not supporting someone, that means you are hindering, or you're contributing to their hindrance. Because without so many people playing their role in helping me grow and develop as a new mom, as a teenager, I don't believe I would be where I am today. And I would not be able to show that same love and same support for you in your endeavors. So, that was the early part of our lives. But, as we move forward, as we stated, we went to the same elementary, middle, high school, and college. College, nobody would have ever thought we would be on campus together
at the same time. Walking across that bridge.
Across. Yep. If you don't know, we are Morgan State University, the national treasure.
Shout out to Morgan State.
Yeah.
Forever love. Morganites. Go Bears.
So we have so many enjoyable moments, and like I said, there was no giving up, because easily I could have said, you know what, I'm never going to go to college. I didn't get to go to college with my peers, and you didn't delay college. Like, you literally you did community college for what, 2 years or a year, and then you transferred over to Morgan. And that was exciting, because it was exciting and scary at the same time, because when you're in college, you can't hold that child's hand through every class, through whatever, like failing classes or passing classes. It's like they're creating a life of independence. But, in the midst of it, it was definitely memories, because we did homecoming. And we did a lot of studying together. We did. Definitely. I remember we were in the computer lab, and you was working on one of your papers. And by this time, I was in grad school. I was getting my master's, and I think I met you on campus, and we were still doing the work that you needed to do and that I needed to do, but still being there as a support. So during that time, is there anything that you can think of that was an interesting experience for you?
It was all positive experiences. Like, just knowing that you was on the campus with me, I can call you at any time to like help me with like a paper. You was doing psychology, and I was taking psychology courses as well. And then you will also help me with like, the sociology part, because it kind of intertwined with each other a little bit. But just having you there was just like, not a lot of people can say that. So like, having that mom on campus, they both going to the same school, it was just a real blessing for me. It was really nice. And being on campus during 2013, which was when I had transitioned to Morgan, I had started their ROTC program. And but let me rewind. Before I even started to want to take that route, I didn't think that I was actually going to join the military. And I think I was having a talk with you and was like, I think I just, want to do like research. And I remember you was like, the Army. All I just thought about was war, like the Army. I was like, I remember your face. Like, when I told you that, what was your thoughts? Like,
I froze. And the first thing I thought about was war. And no, I'm not losing my baby to no, she ain't going overseas. I'm sorry. I'm that that mama bear. You ain't sending my baby over there. And that's the first thing I thought about was the war stories and more of the bad things, because honestly, when you are exposed, and this is one of the reasons why I do not spend a lot of time watching the news, is because it will provide you with all the things that they want you to know without you knowing the whole story, given the whole background. So I do remember, allowing you to explain to me how it was going to be helpful. And by this time, when you explained it, I saw a different you, because it really did help with, going to war and fighting. She was no longer fighting in school. I mean, she did throughout her high school, but, the attitudes and stuff, the teachers say, she definitely had an attitude. But I started to see a change. So from when you started explaining to me, just give us an overview of how you felt sharing that once you got the information about joining ROTC.
Well, I'm going to take it back just a little bit. I didn't know much about the ROTC program, like the officer, like I thought it was just, just like enlisted. But I can't remember who I was having a conversation with, and they was telling me about the ROTC program at Morgan. So then I had started, doing my own research to seeing what the differences was. And I told myself, for one, I don't like being told, like, you got to do this and you got to do that. And I always wanted to see what it was like being in leadership. So I think that when they had told me about ROTC, they can pay for your room and board, give you a scholarship, you'll be in a leadership position as soon as you, graduate. I was like, wow, that sounds good. And they give you a stipend every month. So then I had went to Morgan and talked to an ROTC recruiter, and it was all down from there. I was like, well, I'm on the path to leadership. And ever since then, I'm just glad that I actually took that route. Not saying that the enlistment is, because you can still be in leadership with enlistment too. But I always wanted to portray myself and be a different person than who I was before being in a leadership position as an officer. So,
yeah, that, it's very scary, as a mom and, first time child, first time for me, being in college, because my parents did not go to college. So it was very new for me. And then I had to take on a new role with being a mom of a college student who now is a mom of ROTC, was it cadet? ROTC cadet. I'm learning. These terms are just very tricky. But you really made me proud because you did not use me as a crutch for anything. And when you say about leadership, you literally went into a leadership role and you took off. And I can say that was a really great decision. It was a really great decision that you made. I appreciate you taking the time to explain that to me as you learned about it, to make me feel a little bit more comfortable with saying, okay, because anyone out there who has a child in college, that it's not, it does come with financial obligations. And those financial obligations are not always provided by the university or the school that they're attending or the program. And I remember you saying, you was able to move on campus. And I was like, this is really okay. Going on campus, I wanted you to experience something that I didn't experience because I didn't live on campus. I went to school during the day, so I was able to enjoy and participate in some of the activities that took place during the day, even though I was an older adult during that time. But it was an experience that no one can take from you or take from me. And when it comes down to leadership, it really prepares you. So one of the things, you graduated, and every time I see you with your uniform, what is the uniform? And you have
with the jacket, the black jacket is the ASU.
The ASU. When I tell you, my baby, I used to love when she had her uniform on. You know, the fatigues is okay, but her ASU, that uniform, oh yeah. And her posture, because she always had very, very good posture. She did a little modeling and things like that. So you did a lot during your life. You played tennis, you did a lot, basketball. You did a whole lot. So you definitely was not sheltered, and you really got out there to see what an active world looks like. And you didn't give up. I mean, you were a little bougie because you was getting your hair done and playing basketball. Who goes and get their hair done and then go play basketball? Just trying to run up and down the court looking cute. But nevertheless, like, you really have done some things, some life-breaking barriers, some life-changing things. And as we move forward, you graduated in 2017. Did I say 14? I graduated 17. But you graduated at the 150th year of Morgan State University's establishment, and that was phenomenal. 150 years. So you definitely graduated during a time where it was you saw the flags and stuff on campus for the 150 years. It was really nice. But after graduating, this is where the tables start to get a little turned, because you went from ROTC to, what is the word when you got not sworn in, but is it sworn in? Commission.
Became a commission officer.
I'm learning it. Like, I know it, but you be forgetting the terms. So when you got commissioned as an officer, that was a very emotional time for me. And I look at those pictures and I'm like, wow, this is like a reality. You go from being a baby, having a baby, to now your baby is now graduating from college and being commissioned into someone else's hands, the U.S. Army. What did that transition look like? What did it feel like? What was your thoughts?
I was like, wow. It took me a while to actually like grasp onto that. Like, for one, being the first officer, I know we have a lot of Army other family members, but actually being the first officer, it felt amazing, and I wanted to always carry on that legacy. You're never too young to be in leadership, and thankfully I was taught at a young age, because my mom, of course, is, we don't play about leadership. So I was taught at a very early age, and I was able to carry that on even after college, even still to this day. So when I actually graduated, I actually was in tears, because my dad had actually came to the graduation. And it was his first time.
We are very transparent. Because we're not here to, this is not just a show. This is real life. This is what breaking barriers look like. We go through first time for so many things. And the world will only see the smiles, the laughter, not knowing that there are tears, and not tears of just sadness, but so many tears of joy. And that's why it's so important for us to be able to be transparent, not only with ourselves, because a lot of times we have to realize that we are literally dealing with this. We are accepting that these things happen. And you may have heard me say in another episode, are you ready? Being able to accept, reflect, and execute. And this is a prime example of being ready. Are you ready? Because you being able to accept so many things, and now being able to reflect, but you also have been an executor. So with your dad being there, I know that experience for you, there were so many things going through your mind, you know.
It was an amazing feeling just seeing him there, seeing me, you know, accomplish something that he was never able to do.
Yeah.
And seeing how proud he was. And I remember, you know, after I walked across the stage, I had went up, you know, I did the little wave with my
I got the
uniform.
picture. I got that picture.
And then when the graduation was over, I had went up to him and he just like broke down because he was just so excited that, like, he was just at like disbelief, but happy and proud at the same time. When I was younger, of course, it was just me and my mom. And for him to be there and to actually see that my uncle was there, and it was just something they never got to like really experience. And I wanted to set that example and let the world know it's like, you can do it. You can do it. And still to this day, I try to carry that on and try to, like I said, I try to motivate, educate, encourage, and support and mentor young children and adolescents, teenagers. That's our future generation, that it's okay to be in leadership. You know, we're put in certain situations to grow and learn. And that's what I was able to do throughout my college years and after college and commissioning, is being able to learn new things. I never thought I was going to be doing any of that, but I kept going. I never gave up. And I was always an executor. And I just want to say, like, don't give up. Just keep on going. Just keep on going, because you either going to learn from it or you're going to grow.
Yeah. And the thing is that although there may be stumbling blocks in between, we may stumble and some may fall. But one of the things that we always have to keep in mind is to be able to get up and try it again. If we get it wrong, we try it again. And it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with nobody said that the road was just going to be so easy and so clear and so many sunny days. Absolutely not. Because there were days, you know, between the both of us, like, look, I just can't do it. Like, I just can't. And with that said, when you're saying about executing, and you actually mentored those who were even your age, because even after commissioning and with your leadership being at that time going into a second lieutenant, you still set an example for those who were your peers, you know, whether they were a little bit younger, same age, a little bit older. I remember you telling me, like, you getting out there and you doing PT with them. You got out there and you were with them. You didn't give what they say boss. You know, bosses give they dictate. But true leaders will be in the storm with you. They will walk with you. They will sail with you. They will hold that umbrella up with you to encourage you to keep going. That's the difference between a leader and a boss. A boss may sound big and strong, but a boss does can definitely lack leadership skills.
I was listening to a speech one day by John C. Maxwell, and he's a phenomenal leadership spokesperson. He got numerous of books, and I always listen to him talking about leadership. And one of the things that he mentioned, leadership is not about title. Mm-hmm. Leadership is not about position. Mm-hmm. It's not about being in charge. It's about building relationships.
Yeah,
it really is. Like, me wanting to become a leader wasn't because, I wanted to, take charge or no. That's going to come with it. But the soul of it, the whole picture is just building those relationships. Mm-hmm. So I was able to do all of those things. Mentor, that was the biggest thing. And like I said, encourage and just build those relationships, because just because you're in leadership doesn't mean that you're over top of the person or the person is beneath you or inferior. No, we're all in one. We're all in one. So when they was out there, in the field or, doing PT, doing like ruck marches, I was right there by their side.
You were.
Up early.
Because sometimes I would tell her, look, do we got PT today? Because I do mental PT with her. I might not be on that field, but I was doing PT. And I was like, do we have PT today? Because, I had to get myself mentally. So that's when you say about leadership and support, is that although she was there leading and supporting her cadets, am I saying it right?
Mm-hmm.
Her cadets, I'm mentally supporting my daughter. Like, honestly, it's when they say like, ooh, what your child goes through is like you kind of go through. Everybody may not feel it, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing that it took a lot, because I know that I was rolling over in my sleep when you was out there running, and but I was dreaming that I was out there with you. I was dreaming. Because I can't run no laps. But what I can say is that your leadership, and like you say, even to this very day, one of the things that if you all go on to Expressions Mentoring Consulting website, which is the business that we technically founded in 2017, I am the owner, but she's my director of operations. So it's definitely, we're moving in a direction of providing a path. I know I am for my generation, for both you and your sister to, have something to, if, Lord forbid, if, I ever leave, that you will be able to carry on my legacy, this legacy that it's being developed. Because when Expressions Mentoring and Consulting first came about, it had nothing to do with me. A little bit of it was a reflection on, not saying what I did not receive, because I did receive a lot of mentorship growing up, but I wanted to be able to provide youth with the love and support that I received, that you received, and we did events together. You send out emails. If you ever receive the email, it's coming from my director of operations, and along with being able to help me and support me, because no one can do anything by themselves.
No.
You need to have a support system in place.
Absolutely.
Even if you're learning and growing together, you have to have that in place. You're on the website, on the business website, so you're there, and I know what you're doing in your professional life. You have a very successful career. You have definitely made me a proud mom. And I know we cut up together, we can laugh, we can cry together, we experience life together. I am one of those weird moms. I've been told, yes, that I am the weird mom, because not in a bad way, but I like to have fun. So for me, like, if it's not a moment to laugh, it's just not right. Laughter is free, smiles are free. But going into leadership now, I mean, you've actually have been the leader at the table in your career. You faced many things, being a young Black, brown woman with leadership, and you fighting through it. I mean, you are a lot more tougher than me, because I have not experienced a lot of what you experienced being in the field. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to share just a little bit how you overcome not really tackling the things that take place, because we know that racism is real, sexism is real. There are so many stereotypes, especially for Black, brown young women, and you have just been tenacious. You have been, like I said, a lifesaver for me, because I look at your experiences and it's like, wow, how did you have the strength to endure, even though there were times where you didn't want to deal with that? And then, of course, it was things I couldn't step in and handle, but you came through it, and you literally, when they say abundance, because the devil will try to attack you in so many ways. It could be through work, it could be, through anything, finances, anything. Like, literally, I don't want to go through the whole list, but if you think about it, the devil will try to attack. And one of the things me and your grandma always reflect on is, even when you were a baby, the devil already knew that he could attempt to get you, and it would come through when you were a baby, and like in your dreams you would just cry, and it would just be hard to wake you up out of the dream. But the devil don't mess with those who of his likeness.
He already had those people. So it's like the devil's not going to touch somebody who's already in his kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to try to attack the people that he know that belongs to God. So there's going to be so many trials and tribulations, but we got to be thankful for those trials and tribulations, because what I always say, God does not he puts his strongest soldiers in the most toughest situation, because he knows that we are going to come out of it in the long run. And always growing up, I always had trouble sleeping, and I felt like the devil was trying to attack me in my sleep. I used to have like anxiety real bad, and just couldn't sleep at night, and I just knew like the devil was always trying to attack. But that's because he knew that in the long run, in the future, I will be who I am today. And still, the devil is busy. He's busy, but it's not going to work, because I don't belong to him. I belong to God.
Yeah. And that's the we like little Davids, killing Goliath. And for some people, they may see it that they're unable to win the battle. The one thing I can say about us, that no matter what, we know the battle is not ours, but we already propose as the winning opponent. We already the winner. Whether or not our win comes right now, or a month from now, or a year from now, at the end we will be winners. And the devil will definitely try, even when you're in your winning season. Even in your winning season, he will try. And I use the word try,
because he's never going to succeed. He's just going to try. He's going to attempt, but he's never going to go through with it. And that was a time where I used to work at APG. I was working in between Edgewood and Aberdeen Proving Ground, and I was the youngest black female, the only black female in the team. And I was working with a lot of like, I would say like mid 40s on up. I was dealing with a lot of, it was a lot of racism. It got into the point where I was just like, you know what, it's time for me to go. But I'm glad that I was put in that predicament because I was able to learn from it and not, learn how to not react. Because if you got to be careful on how you react to certain things, even when you're at work or any of that. So I was able to take that and become a better person during my next job. Mm-hmm. I would take a lot of those situations and just try to change it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I was able to become a better person each job I had got after that. But yeah, and I want to be able to be an example to someone else like me or someone else that's like coming up in teenage years that, you're going to be put in so many different situations. But it's up to you to learn how to learn from it and overcome it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and as we discuss this, like I said, we are on a mission to break barriers, although we have already broken many, and we actually haven't even tapped into some of the other things. But I'm just happy. I'm just happy. I could not wish for any other way for life to have gone. And as you can see, we are both on one accord when it comes down to our spirituality and knowing that the devil does not have control over our life and that we put God first. At the end of the day, that's our initial step. That's who we walk with. That's who God is, literally the one that has taken us from the moment I was conceived in my mom's stomach to this very present moment, this actual minute. But as we begin to, wrap up on this wonderful discussion, we can go all day actually, but really, it's quite a bit that we haven't even touched on. But we can save that for another
time. We'll have a part 2 to this. We'll definitely have a part 2 to this because even going forward with our goals and plans and how we are executing. It doesn't take us to be on the news station for the world to see that we are executing. We know that we're executing, and the lives that we are involved in and with see that we are executing. But we're here to deliver this message today for you all. So as we wrap this up, is there anything, I know you left a lot of nuggets and pointers throughout this conversation. I really do appreciate that. Is there anything that you want to add when it comes down to, those who are a child product of a single parent, single mom, or looking to further their education but may have a little fear, or just even stepping in rooms that you are unique in? Is there anything you want to add?
Yes, absolutely. First thing I want to just say is to never give up. Never give up. Have confidence in yourself, and always be willing to ask questions when you don't know the answer, because it's going to be either someone that had the same question as you, or that's going to be more than likely that's going to be someone that has the right answer. And if you don't get the answer right then and there, go to another resource. So just continue asking questions. Have faith in yourself, believe in yourself, and know that you're not the only one. Mm-hmm. You're not the only one.
Yeah. to be able to end this, like, we don't want to end it, but we're almost an hour in, and we thank you for joining us today, and to just come into our space, because we are not we're not necessarily public about everything we go through, but we know that when we do things like this, it's to help others, and to let them know that we are here to support you, whether you are near or far. We are here to inspire you to grow, help you grow, learn, and develop as you go through your journey of breaking barriers. So thank you. If you have not subscribed, we want you to subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for literally breaking barriers now to life, because it's been so much support, and this is very new. We're only in March, and the very first episode was mid-January, and it has been growing, and the feedback, the love and support is appreciated. So we want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah, thank you for.
We absolutely love you guys.
Yes. Yes. We have been waiting to do this, so this is exciting. So until next time, thank you for joining us on Breaking Barriers Now with Dr. Stacey. We will see you on the next episode.
Hi, this is radio presenter and DJ Al Seaforth, and I want to take this time out to talk about Expressions Mentoring and Consulting, your #1 consulting agency providing services leading to great success. Dr. Stacey Stanley, professor at Morgan State University and Capella University grad, created a vision, and the vision is to help our youth of today develop social skills while building their self-confidence. Now, what makes Expressions Mentoring and Consulting unique is the professional knowledge and experience that is given for those who have mental health challenges. No one should feel out of place when trouble arises, so providing an equal, loving yet respectful environment is our #1 mission. Our services provided include group mentoring, one-on-one mentoring, tutoring, training, lifestyle consulting, and emergency cardiovascular services. Get ready to take control of your total being. Schedule a consultation today and visit www.expressions-me.com or call 410-705-4522. Again, that's 410-705-4522. Expressions Mentoring and Consulting, your #1 consulting agency providing services leading to great success.